Hello everyone. Okay, so for today we are going to talk about or discuss about the global city. All right, so we have already talked about global governance, global north and global south. So for today we are going to jump with another topic, and we have here the global city. So we have here the learning outcomes of this lecture. So it says here that at the end of the discussion, the students will be able to, or you guys will be able to explain what is a global city and identify its attributes. Okay? Another, to compare Makati City to any known global cities in the world. Another, to recommend an action to be done by the government and the students in order to improve the status of the cities in the Philippines. Okay, so these are the learning outcomes that you will be gaining after this lecture. Right, so before we start, can you define what is a city? So do you know what a city is? That a city is an area in which a large number of people live fairly close together. Another, a city is basically a big town. The population is large in relation to the amount of land, since people often live in apartments or multi-family housing. Okay, so it says here na kapag sinabi mong city, this is a large area with a large number of people who are living together. Alright, so sa mga sumusunod nating slides, we'll be discussing cities or how cities are created in the Philippines. So, titignan muna natin kung paano naki-create or paano nagkakaroon ng city ang Pilipinas or paano nagiging city ang isang province in the Philippines before talking about the characteristics or the attributes of a global city. So we have also here the word urbanization. So when we say urbanization, we always refer it to the movement of masses of people from rural to urban areas and an increase in urban influence over all spheres of culture and society. So ang sinasabi ng definition na to, it is referring to a process. So when you say urbanization, we refer it to the parang process din to, but we mainly refer it to the movement of masses. So when we say masses, maraming tao. Movement ng mga tao galing sa mga rural areas. So when we say rural areas, we refer it to the societies which only have a little number of people. So ito yung mga examples sa far-flung areas, yung mga konti-konti lang yung mga tao, mga barangay-barangay. Okay, so movement ng mga ito, parang migration ng mga tao papunta sa mga urban or yung mga urban areas, ito yung marami ng tao or marami ng population. So that is urbanization. Okay, so it says here, in order for us to easily understand how a place, city, becomes a global city, let us first see how municipalities or provinces is converted into city in the Philippines. So this is what I am telling you earlier. So titignan muna natin kung paano ba nako-convert ang mga provinces or municipalities or barangays in the Philippines. How are they converted into cities? We have here section 450 of the Republic Act number 7160 says here that a municipality or a cluster of barangays may be converted into a component city if it. Okay, so ano yung mga requirement nito? Okay? So, ang isang municipality, pwedeng mako-convert ito into a component city or into a city kapag na-meet niya itong mga requirement na ito. So, ano ito? Ano yung mga requirement nito? Okay, so we have here annual income. Okay? Okay, sabi, has a locally generated average annual income as certified by the Department of Finance of at least 100 million pesos for at least 2 consecutive years based on the 2000 constant prices, and if it has either the following requisites. Okay, so the number one requisite or requirement of a municipality is to have at least 100 million pesos annual income for the 2 consecutive years. So, akalain mo. So, ang isang municipality, so gusto mong i-convert ang yung municipality, or you are a mayor, you are a governor, gusto mong i-convert ang isang municipality into a city, kailangan magkaroon siya ng 100 million locally generated income for at least 2 consecutive years. Okay? So, kung 1 year lang, so kailangan mong i-maintain yan for 2 years para pwede kang, pwede mong i-apply or pwede kang mag-apply for the conversion into a city. Okay? So, that is only one of the requirements. Pero meron pa. Ano pa yung mga ibang requirements? We have here a contiguous city, territory of at least 100 square kilometers as certified by the Land Management Bureau. Okay? So, hindi lang yung income ang kino-consider mo dito. You also have to consider the territory. So, sabi dito, it is a contiguous territory. Ibig sabihin, uh, continuous, hindi nakakalat yung mga area. Okay? So, kapag sinabi mong Subic, dapat Subic, parang walang, hindi mo sasabihin kapag Subic, merong iba sa Pampanga or merong iba sa Ifugao. So, hindi pwedeng ganun. Contiguous, sabi niya, na 100 square kilometers. Okay? So, that is one of the requirement also. Another, we also have here, population of not less than 150,000 inhabitants as certified by the National Statistics Office. Okay? So, kailangan ng 150,000 inhabitants. Okay? Kaya pala yung definition ng city kanina is city daw, napakaraming tao and then malawak na land area. Okay? So, ganyan ang requirement ng conversion ng municipality into a city in the Philippines. So, we have to consider first the income, 100 million for the past 2 years. We also have here the territory, which is 100 contiguous territory. 100 square kilometers. And we have here 150,000 inhabitants. Not less than 150,000 inhabitants, pero pwedeng tumaas yan. Okay? So, that is the end of a city in the Philippines. Okay? And please note, the creation thereof shall not reduce the land area, population, and income of the original unit or units at the time of the said creation to less than the minimum requirements prescribed herein. Okay, so kapag nagkikreate ng city, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, kunin ko na lang, idagdag ko na lang yung population ng isang city na-convert na city para gawin kong city. Ito, para maging dalawa na ang city ng province namin. Hindi pwedeng ganyan. Okay? Another, the territorial jurisdiction of a newly created city shall be properly identified by metes and bounds, of course. Also, the requirement on land areas shall not apply where the city proposed to be created is composed of one or more islands. Okay, so anong sabi nito? Sabi dito, yung yung sinasabi natin na contiguous territory na dapat I mean yung territory ni 100 square kilometers hindi pwedeng mag-a-apply sa mga islands, okay? So sa isang municipality or isang city na it is separated by a sea or basta yung island sa mga island, hindi maa-apply yung contiguous territory na sinasabi natin earlier. Okay? So, exemption lang sila. Kasi hindi mo man pwedeng sabihin na yung dalawang island, uh, hindi na sila pwedeng hindi na sila pwedeng ma-convert into city dahil magkahiwalay sila, hindi sila contiguous. That is an exception to the rule. Okay? Another, the average annual income shall include the income accruing to the general fund exclusively of special funds, transfers, and non-recurring income. Okay, so those are the sources of the annual income. Okay, so that is the pahapyaw, or that is only an idea on how cities are converted here in the Philippines. Okay, so ang tanong, ano ba ang global city? Okay? So ano ba talaga ang isang global city sa tingin nyo? Okay. So my question is Bonifacio Global City a global city? Okay. So can you write your answer in the comment section? Okay? So sulat nyo kung kino-consider nyo na global city ang Bonifacio Global City, and also give your reason. Okay? So, i-check ko yan after this tutorial or at the end of this tutorial. Okay? So, answer this question is Bonifacio Global City a global city? Okay? So, that is your activity. Now, let us define what is a global city. Okay, so when we say global city, it refers to the significant production point of specialized financial and producer services that make the globalized economy run. Okay? So sabi dito, a global city is a significant production point of a specialized financial. So bakit kaya sinasabi na ganyan na significant production point ang a global city? Okay, so mamaya we will be talking about the characteristics of a global city para malaman natin kung bakit ganyan or bakit ganyan ang definition ng isang global city. So, hindi na yung sinasabi natin kanina na hindi na yung city lang na composed of masses with the vast hectares of land. So, sinasabi dito, it is the significant production point of specialized financial and producer services that make the globalized economy run. So, parang may pagkakaiba. So, titignan natin kung totoo. We have here the characteristics of a global city according to Ren and Aaron 2012. So, 2012 natin binibase itong characteristics nito since every year or every now and then may mga researchers na nagpapakita ng mga characteristics or nagre-research sila kung ano ba ang mga characteristics ng mga known global cities in the world. Okay, so we have here home of major stock exchanges and indexes. Another, influential in international political affairs. Home of world-renowned cultural institutions. Service a major media hub. Large mass transit networks. Home of a large international airport. having a prominent skyline. Okay, so ito bang mga characteristics na ito, meron ba sa Bonifacio Global City? Okay, so check out or balikan ninyo yung mga sagot ninyo kanina kung nag-guess kayo or nag-no kayo doon. Iisa-isahin natin. Sasabi dito, a global city is also a home of major stock exchanges and indexes. So, anong ibig sabihin nito? It says here that a stock exchange was historically a place where sellers and buyers would meet to conduct business regarding the sale and purchase of goods. Nowadays, it is the most commonly associated with being a marketplace for the buying and selling of financial products such as stock and shares. Okay, so ang isang global city meron daw ito. So, a home of the major stock exchanges and indexes. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga stock, shares, dito nahe-held, dito bumibili yung mga international buyers or foreign buyers or yung mga tao mismo. Dito sila nag-engage ng business. Okay, so this is an example of a stock exchange in New York City. Another, influential in international political affairs. So, paano ba to? Sasabi dito, international relations, also known as international affairs or global politics amongst others course names, focuses on the political issues and foreign affairs affecting the world today. It's an interdisciplinary subject touching on history, economics, anthropology, and sociology as well as politics. So, ano bang ibig sabihin na to? Sabi dito, a global city is very influential in international political affairs. Paano sila nagiging influential sa international political affairs? Okay? So, lahat meron silang masasay or parang nagiging standard na sila ng politika ng iba't ibang bansa. Okay? So, let's say for example, Russia, New York City or New York City in the United States. So yung politics in New York City under the United States of America, nagiging influential sila sa mga developing countries or developing democratic countries sa ganyan. Okay? So kung ano ang ginagawa nila, pwede din gayahin ng iba. So parang naging standard sila. Okay, sila ang nagli-lead sa mga maliliit or sa mga developing countries. Nagli-lead ng politika. Okay? So that is one of the characteristics of a global city. Another, it is also a home of the world-renowned cultural institutions. So sabi dito, cultural institutions are institutions with an acknowledged mission to engage in the conservation, interpretation, and dissemination of cultural, scientific, and environmental knowledge, and promote activities meant to inform and educate citizens on associated aspects of culture, history, science, and environment. So, cultural institutions, these are institutions that aims to conserve, okay, the culture of other countries or their culture. Let's say, for examples of cultural institutions are the museums. We have here libraries, historical or botanical societies, and community cultural centers. Okay, so kapag na-try nyo nang pumasok sa mga museums and libraries, these are example of cultural institutions. So mga ano ba ang nakikita nyo sa mga museum? Museum mismo ng Ifugao State University. Okay, so makikita nyo doon yung mga antiques o mga ganyan, yung mga pictures ng mga ninuno ng isang municipality or isang bansa. Okay, so that is one of the example of a cultural institutions. Another, cultural institutions plays a pivotal role in the maintenance, conservation, revitalization, interpretation, and documentation of heritage, and in facilitating citizens' interaction and engagement with heritage. As such, cultural institutions are important actors in the promotion of cultural understanding, intercultural dialogue, and cultural diversity, and in the transmission of culture across generations. Okay? So that is a cultural institution. And ililink natin yan sa uh, home of renowned, world-renowned cultural institution. Okay, so sabi dito, ang isang global city meron daw ganyan. World-renowned cultural institution. So, kumbaga, sabi ko kanina, an example of a cultural institution is a museum. Okay? So, yung museum na yan, andun na lahat yung kultura or yung mga artifacts na nagpapakita ng iba't ibang kultura sa iba't ibang mundo. Okay? So, kung sa New York City, meron silang cultural institutions. Okay? So, hindi lang kultura or hindi lang artifacts na nagpapakita ng kultura ng New York City or United States of America ang nandoon. It include all the, most, pwedeng all, the culture also or artifacts of other countries. So, pwedeng ang museum ng America or New York City, pwedeng andun yung statue ni Jose Rizal and other national heroes of the Philippines and also other countries. So, that is one of the characteristic of a global city. Okay, so that is an example of the museum in Egypt. So it's called the Sokigeti. So we have here also in Vienna, National Palace Museum in Taipei. We have here also the contents in Art Institute of Chicago. Okay, so we also have here another attributes of a global city. Okay, so yung mga sinabi ko kanina, nakabase yan sa research in 2012 at ito, this is the summary of everything. Okay, so yung sinabi ko kanina, yan yung mga characteristics ng global city at ngayon dadagdagan natin ng iba pa. Okay, so we have here economy. So, anong meron? Ito ba, ang ekonomiya ba ng bansa na yan or ang global, yung city na yan ay ganito? Sabi dito, market attractiveness, economic vitality, business environment, regulation, and risk. So, meron ba ang mga ito? Okay, so yung characteristic ba ng ekonomiya nila ay ganito? Attractive ba sa ibang mga investors? Maganda ba ang business environment niya? So, sa internet mismo, okay ba ang internet connection nila? Okay ba yung mga building nila? May mga factories ba na ganito? Okay, so those are the consideration or ito yung mga chinecheck or mostly also na common characteristics of most of the global cities. Research and development. Okay, research background, readiness for accepting and supporting researchers, research achievement. Okay, so makikita nyo dito na importante ang R&D or research and development sa isang aspiring global city. So, meron ba silang ganito? Maganda ba ang research background nila? Ready ba sila na mag-support ng mga researches and yung mga achievement ng mga researchers? Case dahil research and development is very important not only in a global city but also in everything, in every business. Okay, so meron akong discussion na pinag-usapan natin ang research and development. Okay, so paano ba ginagawa, kailan ba ginagamit itong research and development? Okay, so usually ginagawa ito kapag nagpapatayo ka ng business. Okay, magre-research ka muna, titignan mo muna yung environment. I-check mo muna kung ang mga tao ba gusto nila yung product na ito. So parang nagsusurvey ka, di ba? So that is one of the characteristics of a global city. Cultural interaction. So, yan yung parang pareho lang sa inano natin kanina, pinag-usapan natin sa cultural institution. So, cultural interaction. Sabi dito, nagte-trend setting sila. So, trend setting potential. So, sila ang nagse-set ng trend sa iba't ibang bansa. So, kung ano ang sinuot nila, pwedeng gayahin ng maraming tao. Kung ano ang sinuot ng mga Koreans, ginagaya ng mga Pilipino. Okay, so ganyan. May trend setting potential. Accommodation environment, resources of attracting visitors, dining, and shopping, volume of interaction. So, sa cultural interaction, so makikita mo, may trend setting potential ba ang isang aspiring global city? Yung accommodation environment, free ba? Free of harsh? Or maganda ba ang mga facilities nila? Also, may mga tourist spot ba na very attractive sa mga visitors? How about the dining and shopping? Okay, so yan yung kino-consider din. And of course, the volume of interaction. Marami ba or dumadagsa ba ang mga tao doon? Or iilan lang ang pumupunta doon? Yung mga parang, ay gusto ko lang doon. Okay? So, yan ang isang example or yan ang isang consideration or characteristics of a global city. Another is livability. Diba? Working environment, cost of living, security and safety, life support function. Okay? So, livable ba yung area na yan? Okay? Maganda ba? So, kanina pinag-uusapan natin ang environment. Palaging ang environment na lang ang pinag-uusapan dito. Okay? So, the working environment. So, itong working environment pa suitable sa mga tao or suitable sa iba't ibang lahi. Okay? Cost of living. Security and safety. May security and safety pa sa lugar na yan. So, kahit maraming tao or kahit marami ang population dahil maraming mas malaki ang volume of interaction, may security and safety ba or nagpapatayan na ang mga tao? Life support function. So, meron ba silang life support function? Let's say, for example, PhilHealth, mga ganyan. Meron bang support from the government? Okay, so those are the some of the characteristics also of a global city. Environment, okay. So, ecology, pollution, natural environment. So, nag-e-exist pa rin ba ang mga ito? When we say environment, so yan ang isang characteristic din niya. Business activity, the considerations includes headquarters, service firms, capital market value, and capital market value and others. Okay, so sa business activity, may mga headquarters ba dito ng mga international corporations or yung mga multinational corporation? Meron ba silang headquarter kahit isa man lang sa mga big corporation? Okay? Or wala. Okay, so ganyan. So, headquarters of big businesses and also dito din ba nahe-held ang mga international conferences? So, pag sinabi mong international conferences, ibig sabihin yung mga visitors or mga attendees doon galing sila sa iba't ibang bansa. Okay? So that is also a consideration when we say business activity. Human capital. Okay? This considers the size of foreign-born population, quality of universities, number of international schools, international student population, and number of residents with college degrees. Okay, so ang ganda ng human capital nila. So ang mga tao na nandito ay mga foreign-born population, mga foreigners ang nandito. And also we have here the quality of universities. So kumusta naman ang quality ng universities? Ito bang university, marami bang nag-e-enroll dito dahil maganda or marami bang foreigner na nag-aaral dito dahil sa quality ng eskwelahan na yan? Number of international schools, I'm sorry. Yes, schools that is being yung mga enrollee galing sa iba't ibang bansa. International student population, so marami ba? Kumusta ang number ng international student? And of course, the number of residents with college degrees. Okay? So makikita nyo doon na sa isang global city, mako-consider mo na global city kung ang mga resident saan ay purely or most of them are college degrees. Okay? So kahit pala sa education mismo, meron na silang degree. Okay? So ipapakita ko mamaya sa inyo kung meron ba or kung saang bansa ang pwede nating masasabi na most of the residents are in the tertiary degree or level. So that is human capital. We also have here information exchange. Okay, so meron ba ito? Accessibility of major TV news channel. So meron ba silang access doon sa mga major TV news channels? Internet presence. So basically, the number of search hits. Okay, so meron bang internet? Nag-exist ba? Number of international news bureaus, censorship, and broadband subscriber rate. So that is information exchange. We also have here the cultural experience. Nagre-refer ito sa mga dami or number of sporting event, museums, performing art venues, culinary establishments, and international visitors and sister city relationship. Okay, so parang related ito sa didiscuss natin kanina sa cultural institution. Okay, and we have here number 10, political engagements. Yung sabi ko kanina, number of embassies and consulates, think tanks, international organizations, and political conferences. These are the consideration when we say political engagement. We also have here international gateway. So, a global city has an international gateway, measuring the importance of a city in the international flows of people and goods. Example would be the airport and cargo gateways, figures, accessibility or international transportation, infrastructure, inner city transformation, infrastructure. Okay, so meron ba silang international transportation infrastructure? Okay, so a global city also has international gateways. So meron ba silang major international airport? Okay, so yung Bonifacio Global City, meron ba siyang ganyan? Okay, so bahala na kayong sumagot dyan. Culture of knowledge and innovation. So yung city na ba na yan, meron na ba silang ini-innovate? Kasi di ba modernization and innovation. So pag sinasabi mong innovation, meron ba silang ginagawa or meron ba silang na-innovate na wala sa ibang bansa? Okay? So that is also one of the considerations. Okay, so those are the characteristics of a global cities. And I hope that you have learned something from it, and then bahala kayo kung papalitan ninyo yung sagot nyo kanina sa tanong natin sa previous na slides. Okay, so now I'll be giving you some of the examples of a global cities. Here, the Singapore Container Port in Singapore. So makikita ninyo dyan, malawak. Also have here Japan. Sabi ko kanina, Japan is one of the best educated cities in the planet with a high proportion of people with tertiary degrees. Okay? So kanina, one of the characteristics of a global city under human capital is this, yung number of constituents or inhabitants in the tertiary level. And Japan is one of the best educated cities. Kasi lahat or halos lahat ng mga inhabitants nila doon ay graduate ng tertiary degree. So, sana all. Hong Kong, one of the biggest financial centers, it is also a major port city. So aside from being a financial center, they also have the major port city. Okay, so we also have here Dubai. And this ends our lecture for the topic global city. And I hope that you have learned something or you have learned a lot from this lecture. And if you have questions, clarifications, and recommendation, please feel free to write it down on the comment section para balikan ko kayo pagkatapos nyong mag-comment. Alright, so this ends our discussion for today, and goodbye, everyone. Okay, and that ends our discussion for this lecture. And I have already given you your activities for this, and I hope that you understand our lecture for today. And if you have any comments or suggestion, please write it down in our comment section at babalikan ko kayo sa gagawin natin